Hello students, this is in the continuation of the chapter 7 packing. Now see from here page number 84, 8 point. They began in a light-hearted spirit, evidently intending to show me how to do it. I made no comment. I only waited, with the exception of George. Harris is the worst packer in this world, said I, and I looked at the piles of plates and cups and kettles and bottles and jars and piles and stoves and cakes and tomatoes, etc., and felt that the thing would soon become exciting. Okay, now see the meanings of difficult words. Light hearted means in a leisurely way, evidently means clearly, intending means thinking or desiring. Understand? Then there is a one more word, exception means a person or thing that doesn't follow the general rule. Understand? Now the meaning of this paragraph. So his two friends George and Harris started packing the hampers in a happy mood. They wanted to show Jerome that they could pack well, better than Jerome. Jerome waited for them to create a mess. Okay, he was waiting, okay, for their mess, because he considered Harris to be the worst packer in the world. Jerome looked at the piles of plates, cups, kettles, and bottles, the jars, pies, cakes, and tomatoes, which had to be packed into the hampers. He thought that as the boys would mess up, it would be an interesting thing to be watched. Understand? Now, the next second passage of the same number, 8 number. It did. They started with breaking a cup. That was the first thing they did. They did that just to show you what they could do and to get you interested. Understand? Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squashed it. And they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. And then it was George's turn, and he trod on the butter. I did not say anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. Okay, now see the meaning of difficult words. Chaos means confusion, disorder. Okay, reign means ruled. Did not care. See, page number 85. Comment, remark. Piles means heap. Pies, Pies. Pies means eating things. Then exciting means stimulating. Okay, motivating. Strawberry, soft, juicy, and red fruit of this name. Okay. Then squashed means crushed. Trod means walked over with heavy feet. And edge means margin. Understand? Now, let understand the meaning of this paragraph. Now scene became interesting as they started their packing with breaking a cup in the beginning. Understand? Jerome says that they broke the cup to indicate that they could do that too. Means they could break a cup too and to make things interesting. Then Harris placed the jar of strawberry jam on top of the tomatoes. The tomatoes, tomatoes are very delicate, tender things, and they were squeezed by the jar heavy pressure, and then they removed the damaged tomato with the help of a spoon. Understand? And then next, George stepped on the butter. Okay, Jerome remained silent but sat on the edge of the table to watch the action. Now, the next page. It irritated them more than anything I could have said. I felt that it made them nervous and excited, and they stepped on things and put things behind them and then couldn't find them when they wanted them. And they packed the pies at the bottom and put heavy things on top and smashed the pies in. Okay. Now, see the word nervous. Nervous means tense, uneasy. Smashed means broke into pieces. Okay. Now, understand the meaning. I told you that George stepped on the butter. Understand? And Jerome remained silent but sat on the edge of the table to watch the action. So, Jerome's silence irritated his two friends, George and Harris. They became nervous and stepped on things one by one. They kept the things behind them, and later, when they wanted them, they could not find those things. They placed the pies on the bottom and kept heavier things on them, okay, which smashed the pies. What do you mean by pies? Pies means it's a kind of sweet dish. Understand? Now, the next paragraph, they upset salt over everything. And as for the butter, I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life, and then they did. After George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. It wouldn't go in, and what was in wouldn't come out. They did scrape it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harris sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went looking for it all over the room. Understand? Now see the meaning of difficult words. Upset means overturn, then scrape means drag or pull. Understand? Stuck means attached. Now the meaning of this paragraph. Now two boys overturned the can of salt, okay, can of salt on everything. What happened? They put the can of salt on everything. Jerome says that they created a lot of confusion with the small piece of butter. He had not seen anyone create so much mess with butter that was worth 1 and 2 pence, meaning it was a very small piece. Okay, butter was a very small piece. So, what happened here? Jerome had seen them creating so much mess with butter. Understand? And that was worth 1 and 2 pence, as they did. George removed it from his slipper and tried to put it into the kettle. Understand? What he tried to put into the kettle? Butter. As he was unable to do that, he placed it on a chair. Actually, the mouth of the kettle was too small to get out things. Okay, once put, could not come out. That's why he placed the butter on a chair. And what happened? Lately, Harry sat on the butter. The butter stuck to him, to his back. Okay, he stood up, and both the boys went around the room searching for the piece of butter. Understand? Now, next paragraph. I will take my oath. I put it down on the chair, said George, staring at the empty seat. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. Then they started round the room again, looking for it, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of, said George. So mysterious, said Harris. The George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. Why, here it is all the time, he exclaimed indignantly. Okay, indignantly. Where? Cried Harris, spinning round. Stand still, can't you? Roared George, flying after him, and they got it off and packed it in the teapot. Understand? Now, the meaning of the paragraph. Now, listen to the meanings of difficult words. Oath means pledge, swear, okay. Stared means looked intently. Extraordinary means uncommon, unique. Mysterious means full of mystery. Exclaimed means spoke in surprise. Indignantly means in a great anger. Okay. And spinning means moving around. Still means quiet. And then roared means spoke at a high pitch. Now the meaning of these lines. Now George looked intently at the empty seat on which he had placed the butter a few minutes ago. He took an oath of truthfulness that he kept the butter on the chair, but it is not there now. Okay, and while he kept the piece of butter a minute ago, okay, on the chair, but now it is not there. Once again, they both search it in the room. They met in the middle of the room, empty handed, staring each other. Then George said that the disappearance of the butter was the most amazing thing that he had known. Harry said that the disappearance of the butter was a mystery. George saw the butter sticking to Harris's back, okay, and said that it had been there all this while, okay. Now, Harris turned around and asked where it was. George flew, means he just jumped to Harris' back and asked him to stand still to get the butter. And then this way, he removed the butter and packed it inside the teapot. Understand? Now, the next paragraph. Montmorency was in it all. Of course, Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sworn at. If he can square him in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted and be a perfect nuisance and make people mad and have things thrown at his head, then he feels his day has not been wasted. Before going to another page, I would like to tell you the meaning of difficult words. See, ambition means keen desire. Understand? Objective. Then squarem means enter with difficulty. Here the meaning of squarem is enter with difficulty. Okay. Now the meaning of this paragraph. And see there's one more word, sworn at means get scolded. Understand? And nuisance means to cause inconvenience or annoyance to anyone. Now understand the meaning of this passage. So who is Montmorency? It is a pet dog of Jerome, okay, and who participated in all this in packing by creating lot of annoyance to them. What was his aim? His aim was to interrupt everyone and then get scolded for it. Jerome says that if Montmorency was able to twist into a place and create nuisance by angering people and get things thrown at him in return, he felt that he had utilized the day in a very good way. Understand? So, this was the dog's nature. Now, the next paragraph. To get somebody to stumble over him and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object. And when he has succeeded in accomplishing this, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. Okay, now see the meaning of difficult words. Stumble means fall over. Steadily means firmly, strongly. Accomplishing means fulfilling or achieving. Then conceit means pride, Pride. Okay. And next word is unbearable. Unbearable means which can't be tolerated. Understand? Now understand the meaning of these lines. So what was the dog's aim? To get Actually his aim was to get people trip over him. Okay. And scold him. He just did it intentionally. Understand? By doing this, he felt that he had fulfilled his aim and would feel proud of his achievement. Now, the number 13, he came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be packed, and he labored under the fixed belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, it was his cold, damp nose that they wanted. He put his leg into the jam and worried the teaspoons, and he pretended that the lemons were rats, okay, and got into the hamper and killed three of them before Harris could land him with the frying pan. Now, see the meaning of difficult words. Worried means disturbed, okay, and then damp means wet. Pretended means made a false show. Understand? And then land him means hit or punch someone. Now understand the meaning of this passage. So the dog sat on the things to be packed. What is the name of the dog? Montmorency. So what did he do? He sat on the things to be packed into the bag. The dog thought that when George and Harris reached out for the things to be packed, they were reaching out for his cold, wet nose. You might have noticed that dogs, when we touch the dog's nose, we feel it damp. Okay. So what he thought, whenever George and Harris packed things, they were reaching out for his cold and wet nose. Okay, and would bring it forward for them. He just deliberately brought his nose, okay, forward for George and Harris. He stepped into the jam bottle, he shook the teaspoons, and he acted as if the lemons were rats, and stepped into the hamper to kill these rats. He was stopped by Harris, who hit him or chased him with a frying pan. Understand? Now see the point 14. Harry said, I encouraged him. I did not encourage him. A dog like that doesn't want any encouragement. It's the natural, original sin that is born in him that makes him do things like that. Okay. Now, the packing was done at 12:50, and Harris sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, which reflection seemed to comfort him. He also said he was ready for bed. We were all ready for bed. Harris was to sleep with us that night, and we went upstairs. Okay, now see the meaning of difficult words. Encouraged means provoked. Original means inborn, by birth. Okay, reflection means thought. Tossed means shook. Okay, now understand the meaning of this paragraph. So at 12:50, and actually when dog did all that nuisance, Harris blamed Jerome for encouraging or motivating Montmorency for doing all that mischief. Okay, Jerome says that the dog like Montmorency did not need any motivation because it was born to be like that and act like that. Okay, so at 12:50 midnight, they had packed the hampers. Harry sat on the hamper, and said that hopefully nothing would break in it. George was indifferent. Okay, he said that if something broken in it, it would not matter. As they were ready for bed, they went upstairs to sleep. Now, number 15, we tossed for beds, and Harris had to sleep with me. He said, do you prefer the inside or the outside? J. I said I generally preferred to sleep inside a bed. Harris said it was odd. George said, what time shall I wake you fellows? Harris said, 7. I said, no, 6, because I wanted to write some letters. Okay. Now see the meanings of difficult words. Tossed means shook. Odd means strange. Row means quarrel. Split means shared. And tumble means fall. Now, understand the meaning of this paragraph. So now they all packed all the things in the bag, in the hamper. Okay, and now they settle in their beds. Harris asked Jerem if he prepared or if he preferred the inside or the outside of the bed. Jerem said that he preferred to sleep on the inside of the bed. Okay, this seemed strange to Harris. George asked them that if he should wake them up at means he just asked both of them at what time he should wake up them. Okay, wake them up. Harris replied 7, while Jerem wanted to wake up at 6. Okay, as he had to write some letters. Harris and I had a bit of row over it, but at last split the difference and said 6:30. Wake us at 6:30, George. Okay, we said. I told you what is the meaning of row. Row means a conflict, okay, a clash. Now what happened? Harris and Jerem had a discussions on the time, and finally they settled on 6:30. Okay, and each accommodating means adjusting his time by half an hour. Now next paragraph, in the last paragraph, George made no answer, and we found on going over that he had been asleep for some time. So we placed the bath where he could tumble into it on getting out in the morning and went to bed ourselves. So when they replied that when they decided to wake up or when they asked George to wake them up at 6:30, George did not make any answer. He did not give any response. Okay. Why? Because he was already asleep. Harris and George made mischief by placing the bathtub next to George's bed so that he would fall into out as he woke up on the pretext that this way he would take a bath as soon as he got up. Understand? So this was all about the chapter packing. So finally, we read that the narrator Jerem boasted of being the master of packing, and his two friends George and Harris relaxed while the narrator packs the bag. And the next, the narrator packed the bag but missed so many things. The narrator searched for his toothbrush and found it in a boot. Okay, then uh, he reopened the bag and repacked it many times for many things. George and Harris undertook the task of packing off the hamper. They also messed up things and took a long time for packing the bag. Then another thing is with the Montmorency, who came and created nuisance, lot of trouble to Harris and George. Then he sat on things that were to be packed. He squashed lemons and disturbed everything. Okay, finally, the bag packed late at night and they all got tired and decided to sleep. And before going to sleep, they had again once again an argument over when to wake up in the morning. So finally, they decided to wake up at 6:30. Understand? So the packing stood finished. They decided where to sleep, arguing that slept to wake up at 6:30. So that's all about the chapter packing. Thank you so much.